Good afternoon and welcome to very, very important time. Of course, it's midday discourse on Global TV right here in Nigeria's capital city. It's a program where we take a look at happenings on national issue. The issue of food insecurity in the country has been a major challenge. The federal government is doing everything possible to have food on the table. Nigerians are protesting in all capital cities in the country demanding for a plate, perhaps a dish on their table. And of course, on today's edition of the program, we have a man who will be giving us some of all that is needed to help us put aside this present situation in the country. He has successfully trained over 2,000 women and youths in various enterprises and linked them up to fund that has assisted them to expand in their various enterprises across the nation. He holds a bachelor's degree in agriculture economics and extension from Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi. He is also, of course, a great man. He has a BS in agriculture economics, University of Abuja, and of course, he's a PhD holder in agriculture economics. He is a man who will have an answer to the question that many Nigerians are asking: how do we do to have a meal, a 3-square meal? Is it still possible in Nigeria? When we take a break, when we come back, we have the opportunity of meeting my guest. He is Dr. Sunday Ajayi Godfrey. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll go straight to the talk. It's Midday Discourse right here on Global TV, Nigerian capital city. And I am Clinton Agbo, welcoming you on board. Glad to have you back on the program Midday Discourse on Global TV right here in Nigeria's capital city. My guest is Dr. Sunday Ajayi. He's a man who has assisted many, but many are also expecting him to do more. On today's edition of the program Midday Discourse right here on Global TV, we will be finding an answer to the question that the federal government is still struggling to find an answer. Mr. Sunday, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clayton. I'm happy to be here.
Now, let's go straight. Nigeria is what many could drive as a crossroads. Challenges, food scarcity in the country, and everyone is talking to. You, on paper, you've done so much, trained over 20,000, and you're still doing more. How soon can Nigeria be out of this problem if given the opportunity to advise the government?
Yeah, the government we have today, I would tell you, really needs advice. Because again, the evidence of the policies are that the people are on the streets right now. Labor is protesting, the ordinary persons are protesting in the streets. So we really need to be able to put our weight of experience together to see how we can possibly advise this government towards us getting out of where we are. Today, as it stands, a major challenge is that of insecurity. Insecurity, by the time you give a group of farmers good advice on probably good agronomic practice, they will now tell you, Godfrey, if we get to the farm and we get kidnapped, what do we do? So at the base of our major headache today is that of insecurity. And talking about insecurity, I think it has a solution. That is a solution that the state government needs to come on board to be able to see how they can tackle this problem. Nigeria is a huge irony where, you know, the community owns the land, okay? The state government issue the CFO. But if a mineral is discovered on that land, the federal government takes over the land. That's a huge irony of where we're coming from. So today, our major headache, I will tell you, is that of insecurity. And the government have to sit down and put on their thinking cap. Like we mentioned off camera, where we are right now, it's a situation where everybody, you know, everybody that is involved, from the ministries to the presidencies to the state, we have to sit for the next 6 months, you know, put everybody together to see how we can tackle this problem. While we are formulating the policies, we also need to come up with solutions to say this is going to be the effect. from May 29, when the president made that announcement, fuel subsidy is gone. That was the beginning of our problem. Okay? I don't have a problem with the removal of the subsidy. I don't have a problem in that. But in everything you do in life, there has to be a strategy. And when you talk about strategy, you're talking about the game plan. So we expected that on that day that that pronouncement was going to be made, there ought to be said what would be the next thing. If I were the president, as at that time, I would have done a phase removal of the subsidy.
When you say phase removal, what exactly do you mean, Doctor?
So talking about phase removal, I mean, the subsidy has been there, okay? And you remove it overnight, there is no local refinery working. Okay, so I will have announced, okay, we have, if it's 100%, we say, okay, we're removing 20%. In the next 6 months, we're removing 50%. And by end of December last year will have been the final day that the entire subsidy will have been removed. So people will have been able to adjust. Okay, because petroleum, or indeed petroleum is one of those things that once you tamper with it, it affects every other thing. And one of those core things is that of transportation. Okay, so transportation in the sense that we have to move those, the rural people have to move their produce to the urban centers where they are being purchased. So when you now have a situation of that removal, then by the following day, the price of petroleum went up, and that also now affected every other price, and that's where we are today.
You are a management trainer, Nigerian Council for Management Development, and also an associate member of the Institute of Chartered Economics, Nigeria. You also hold certification in International Community of Certified Microfinance. Most farmers are complaining that they do not have enough finances. If we talk about the issue of security, which you have rightly mentioned, if that is taken care, don't you think farmers will still have a reason to say?
Yeah. So the reason I mentioned insecurity as number one, once you take away insecurity, ordinarily the farmers, our parents, once the rain start falling, they go to the farm. Ordinarily, with or without anybody's support, they go to the farm. We all know that. And I said to us here, that a lot of us were trained with the rural money. I, from the South Nigeria, was trained with Gary money. But today, you have a situation where our children don't want to go back to land. Okay? So all is that the picture of agriculture that you have today is a picture of hoe and cutlass. We are talking about technology. We are talking about artificial intelligence. We are talking about, smart technology. Our agric is still largely rural in nature. So for the youths to come into the equation, we have to look at innovative way to finance agriculture. Okay? And the last government, had what we call the Anchor Borers program. And the word anchor indeed was supposed to be a private sector word. Okay? So there are quite a number of financial instruments that can be deployed. For example, the Anchor Borers program, I think it should be revived. Those who are owing should be made to pay. Once they have made that payment, then we should revive the Anchor Borers program to make it a true private sector driven instrument. There are other instruments like the warehouse receipt system. Okay? What does the warehouse receipt system does? Okay, so a situation where the farmers produce, there's a central warehouse for them to take those produce to. Once you take those produce to those warehouses, the receipts are issued to the farmers, and a partner banks come into the equation where they can, be able to redeem those receipts that they have collected. Today, I think beyond the Anchor Borers program, which I think it should be revived, we should have things like the Anchor Borers program. We should have the warehouse receipt system. And talking about warehouse receipt system, there are other smaller instruments. Today, we have over 1,000 microfinance banks, okay? So why can't microfinance banks be made to finance the rural farmers, okay? But today you have a situation where most microfinance banks want to remain in the urban centers to start dragging the corporate customers. So the financial sector should be clearly segregated. You have the microfinance dealing with the retail end. You have the commercial bank dealing with the medium end, while you have the merchant banks and all other banks dealing with the high end of the economy.
Doctor, you talked about the Anchor. Would you say Anchor was a success?
Yeah, the anchor from the way it was designed.
Yes.
Okay, because I remember I was the first person to take anchor borers program to Niger State to go and test run. Okay, the word anchor means that if, for example, you are a rice mill, okay, that means you are an anchor. So you are supposed to gather all the farmers around your location to produce the paddy for you. Okay, so once they produce the paddy, at the end, they will now take that rice and bring it to your custody.
Yeah.
Okay? So,
Yes. Yes.
okay. So, they bring the rice to your custody. Then you now, in turn, pays them. So, where Anchor Borer program went in is when they brought in different variants of it. One of the variants they brought was to say the state government can also become anchor. That was where it was hijacked. The farmers' organization, that's at the point it was revised. That's why I said today over $1 trillion is being owed under the Anchor Borers program. If that's what actually happened, then those people who have done that should be made to repay. Then we now go back to make Anchor Borers program a true private sector driven program. Once we're able to achieve that, I assure you that we can revive it in reality.
Dr. Sunday is my guest on the program Midday Discourse right here in Nigerian's capital city. We are looking at the issue that will bring food on the table. There are many Nigerian protests all over the country demanding for a price of these goods and services. Now, Doctor, the fuel commodity in the markets, they are too expensive, Doctor. What do we do?
Yeah, so, because, I have heard another line of argument that we have enough food. I don't sincerely think that way. Today, subsidy in agriculture in America is practiced. I will tell you that we don't have enough food. I can tell you that because in the last 5 years, there have been spate of insecurity across the country. Okay? So when you have high inflation up to 29.5%, and you have little money chasing the little rice, the little food we have on this, what you're bound to evidence is a high cost of pricing. Okay, so if you want to drive down the cost of pricing, we can do that in 6 months. Sir. So what does that mean? It means that generally most of the arable crops, most of the grains takes about 3 to 4 months to farm. And luckily, we are in the rainy season now because we are still in a country where we are dealing with rain-fed agriculture. So what I expect or what I think we should do is, as the rains are coming now, government should make provision for all the necessary inputs. Okay? The cost of fertilizer today is about 30,000 going up. When I started agriculture about 10 years ago, the price of NPK fertilizer used to be about 5,500, and we're saying then that it's very expensive.
But you came from an area where you could farm without even fertilizer.
Yeah.
You talked about South.
So, yeah, you can farm with agriculture, but the end result is you have low productivity. I was born in the South, and I grew up in the North. I remember in those days, my grandmother, okay, when we go to farm, we have a basin of maize. We are celebrating, okay? But when I had to travel with my uncle to Bauchi precisely, and my uncle could do 40 bags using tractors and all these other schemes. So let's not deceive ourselves. One of the greatest challenge I think we have is that we need to do a soil test of the entire nation so that we know the fertilizer that is applicable for which of the location. But today, you have 20-10-10 NPK, you have 15-15. It becomes a generic fertilizer that everybody uses. So South in itself require fertilizer, but the type of fertilizer that they require is different from the one that they need in the North. So if anybody tells you that fertilizer will not be required in the South, then that in itself, I don't think is a good information.
So you're talking about that if rain starts now, the prices of goods will drop if demand and supply is anything to go by.
No. Like I said, it takes about 3 to 4 months. If we focus on maize, for example, which is the staple crop that everybody is used to. You can eat maize raw. You can grind maize into powder, mix it with cassava, it becomes the elubo, or it becomes the semovita that we're used to. So if the right inputs is channeled into production, so I'm telling you that the rain, because of climate change, will probably be starting maybe around May. Okay, so if you have May, June, July, August, by October, the prices of goods will go down if we go into production. So the government is saying, look, you need to tighten your belt, but I'm afraid let people not die by the 9 months that they have estimated. They have already spent about 8 months in government now. So we have 4 months of being able to deploy to the market, and by October, I can tell you that when the produce are coming out, that's when prices normally come down. And I will tell you by then, the prices will be coming down. That's if we go back to farm.
Are the farmers willing to go back?
So insecurity, they will not.
You mean the entire country farmers are really passing through this hard period, and it's quite a major challenge. So getting this farmer back to farm is another challenge.
Yeah, so probably we should speak to the insecurity. Okay, so, you know, today they're talking about state police. Okay, I don't have anything against that. But I think that with technology, we can take care of our insecurity problem. What do I mean by that? Okay, state government are saying that, look, they are chief security officers of the states, but in reality they are not. But I want to tell them today how they can, okay? With the use of technology, okay? Like, for example, you have 2 things that they can do. You talk about drones. If they can fly drones across their states, they have a database of where they keep all their drones. So if the insecurity is going on in a particular location, they can fly those drones to track those incidences and report them live, okay? Then one other thing I think they can do is the deployment of CCTV. Every commercial property, okay, like where this edifice that we are sitting on today, should have a CCTV camera. And there should be a law mandating that if an insecurity takes place around this environment, the owners of this property must be able to bring the footage of what happens. So with technology, I believe that in a short while, you know, we can take care of this. The FCT minister just made a simple pronouncement. I'm giving a bounty for 20 million for anybody who is able to catch the bandit that was declared wanted. And in a space of 1 week, he was produced. So I believe that we can solve this problem.
I strongly believe we can solve this problem. That's the choice word of my guest, Mr. Sunday Godfrey, who is right here with us on the program Midday Discourse on Global TV, Nigeria's capital city, finding the lasting solution to the crisis of insecurity in the country. Mr. Sunday, you are also a farmer, am I right?
Yes, farmer, yeah.
And we are told that the seed rice is also one delicacy that many Nigerians are also eating. Tell us why this rice is number 1.
Okay, so we are the producer of Seed First rice. Seed First rice is produced in a community called Yaba in Abaji Area Council. Okay, so we actually started our production from Niger State. Like a prophet, it's like we saw this insecurity coming, and we had to relocate that factory, a 2-ton per hour rice mill, to FCT here. So the beauty about our rice is that it's fresh. Okay, it's not like a rice that is kept in the warehouse. So if you want to order for a rice that is a month old, we can actually do that for you to eat the true fresh rice today. So we are by the neighborhood of FCT, and we can supply to anywhere in the country. So Seed First rice was conceived to be able to bridge the gap between supply and demand. And today we're able to do 2 tons per hour rice mill, and we've been getting quite a lot. I can tell you that in the next 6 months we are sold out.
Is it affordable?
Yeah, you know, it's based on demand and supply. Average rice, the price of rice today in Nigeria is from 60,000.
Yours should be lower from 60,000.
Yeah, that's like the minimum price. You have rice going for like as high as 70, 80.
But some argue that this is made in the country or locally produced. Why are you competing in terms of price with importation?
So what leads to increase in price is, first of all, the forex that we have. As of today, forex going for about 1,600.
You still need dollars if you're doing this?
Yeah, because the inputs, the fertilizer you talk about, the agrochemicals that you talk about, you have to get forex to be able to get those things. So those are the bottom line. You'll be surprised that the people at the rural area, they understand forex even better than people, you know. We trade in sesame, and I met a very rural person in the community, and I was saying, look, I wanted to buy some sesame. He said, look, you know that sesame is an international commodity, so which is determined at the international market price. So the rural people, they understand. A bag of fertilizer 10 years ago was 5,500. Today is about 30,000. So that will automatically impact, okay? And we can actually do without fertilizer by going organic. But that has to be with careful thinking. And that's what I mentioned to you, that the government has to be strategic. They need to put a game plan. What do we want to achieve? Do we want to achieve more food? Do we want to achieve affordable food? All these things are available for us. And I said, look, we need to sit down for 6 months and be thinking and deploying on a daily basis for us to be able to get all the prices down.
Will Nigerians be fasted during that 6 months?
Yeah, that is a challenge. And of course, like I said, we expect that with all the silos that they have and all the storage, if they have actually done that, should be able to cushion the effect as we plan for the next 6 months.
Hopefully the next 6 months there will be availability of food in Nigeria. Just word of my guest, Dr. Sunday Godfrey, giving us an idea on what to do. He said the federal government should take 6 months to make sure that we have these on our table. There have been demand of shortage of food or insecurity in food across the country, and protest is going on everywhere, demanding that government should think quickly to have an answer to this. And to find an answer to this with us at the program Midday Discourse on Global TV, I have Dr. Sunday Godfrey. We are with us trying to see how we can find a lasting solution to the issue of lack of food in Nigeria and across our state capital. Doctor, let's come back. You said government have 2 major steps to take, and these steps will require a total of 6 months. 6 months is almost, of course, it's half of the year. What will Nigerians be living on during that period?
Okay. Yeah, so Nigeria, the government said they have they're releasing about 42,000 metric tons of grains to the people. How it will be distributed will be another day's work. We are saying that it's not as if we don't have food completely there. It's just that the price is high. So we're asking government, if you have any storage anywhere, you can bring them on board right now. We are against trying to import any form of food item. Okay, in the last 8 years, we have survived without importing rice. Okay, so there's something called the homestead garden, where everybody will be required to actually farm all the vegetables that you need. Okay. And that takes about just 30 days. So if you have a borehole in your house, you can do your pepper, your tomatoes, your vegetables that you need. Now we have to be very, very innovative. Rather than go for the big protein, we can go for the crop proteins by way of vegetable. Vegetable is very good for the system. So in the next 1 month, you can actually farm all the vegetables that you need, all the tomatoes, to be able to take care of that home front. Luckily, the First Lady is coming up with a competition for homestead garden to say, okay, the best homestead garden, we get a good amount of money. So if we release the 42,000 metric tons and we go back to homestead garden, then with the little that we have, then we can, continue to consume as we plan for the next 6 months.
All this is happening because of the fuel subsidy removal?
Yeah, all because of the subsidy. Because again, once subsidy you remove subsidy, the price of fuel goes up. Okay, once that goes up, the cost of transportation goes up. Okay, and vis-a-vis the forex.
Should government have a rethink and then to see how they remove this fuel subsidy? You think this will be what Nigerians will be looking for in terms of availability of food?
Yeah, it's for me, I think it's a bit too late. What we need to do is to look at the alternative. For example, the cost of transportation. How do we deal with that? We have gas that we are flaring on a daily basis. Okay? So why can't we look at CNG gas as an alternative? And we propose that government could actually do 1 million cars, okay? Change that technology And it's not even an actual change, it's just to bring additional technology that can help you to use CNG. And by the time you deploy CNG across all the filling stations, what that means is that there will now be cost of transport will come down. Okay, so once cost of transport will come down, employment will be created, because now you have people deploying those compressors and all those things for the CNG. Then you have people selling, you have other people coming into the industry. So with that, we should look at the alternative. Where are the people feeling the pain? People, the government mentioned about CNG bus. I don't know whether you have seen the first CNG bus. Okay, so if the buses come on stream, I mean, like a city, for example, as big as Abuja should have a robust transportation scheme. Okay, so a situation where you can afford to drop your car and be able to come into, and we've done that calculation to say that, look, if we have about 500 CNG buses today, it will plow the entire FCT to make transportation robust and available. And with that kind of system, you don't have to carry your car again, and you come out as at when you need it. Lagos State government announced that the civil servant will now work for only 3 days in a week, which is good. So the remaining 2 days, they are at home, they should be doing their gardens. So it's not just about at home, lazing around. Okay? So they should be at home doing their homestead gardening, doing their greenhouses to be able to produce, to compensate for the time they are not in the office.
And with that, government agency will also suffer low productivity because the manpower will not be there any longer. What's behind government intention of doing this? Like the Lagos State government, asking them to come for like 2 days?
Yeah, because the pressure is on the people now.
Okay.
The pressure is on them. They have to fund themselves to come to office 5 times a week. And I can tell you that